Good morning. Nice to see everyone. Morning Lynn, morning Vicky. I'm very well, thank you. How's everyone today? How are you feeling? How are you doing? Miserable here. It's all rainy and full. How's your week been, everyone? Lynn, how are you doing? Are you all right? Are you all right? And Vicky, how are you? Ah, gosh. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. It seems like, well, it seems like forever since we did the last live, and then it also seems like 5 minutes ago. So miserable here too. Yeah, it's horrible, isn't it? When yesterday was really lovely, and I was working all day. So, oh gosh. Let's see who else is arriving. Morning, Heather. Nice to see you, and Julie. Welcome, Julie from California. I bet it's rather nicer weather with you than it is here. It's just, we're so English, aren't we? I'm talking about the weather. But it's just, I don't know. What can I say? It's not great. Oh, Sarah Endicott. Oh, nice to see you. I know you said on the comment yesterday that you were going to try and come along, so I'm glad that you made it. That's wonderful. Good to see you. Right, let's see. I'm going to see if I can draw the comments across without moving this purple thing up here. So I'm going to try my best. Oh, no. It just drives me nuts when that happens. Oh, dear. Because I have to draw the comments across because... Now let's work this time, because then it gives me enlarged text so that I can actually see everything. Oh gosh. Let's see. Oh, Heather, you've been struggling the last few days. I'm sorry to hear that. It's horrible, isn't it? I don't think this weather helps, but I think life can be difficult, can't it, sometimes? And I'm really glad that you're here. Hopefully we can have an hour of just being chilled and chatting. I hope you're all right. Put on some dutty tunes, Sarah. Do you know what? I was watching someone doing a live earlier on, and they had music. I'm just not my cup of tea, really. I'm not a big fan of music. Like, I am sometimes it's the right stuff, but it would drive me mad. So having music on in the background. So I think it's more of a calm vibe here. So I'm sorry about that. Afternoon, Mail Deus, I think is your name. I don't know. But let's have a look. How's your week been, everyone? Oh, thank you, Ali. Hello, Ali. Nice to see you. Glad that you like, I don't know, this colour. Is it this navy blue? I had my nails done yesterday, so oh, you might mean that. I'm not sure, but thank you anyway. Oh gosh, we're straight into a question. I haven't even introduced myself and my team, but we're in there, and it's a good question, Georgia. So Georgia Wilson Wheeler is saying anxiety for starting uni. So I'm assuming you got your A-level results yesterday. And you must have got the ones that you wanted, so congratulations on that. That's wonderful. I suppose there'll probably be a lot of people who either today are thinking, oh blimey, I'm going to uni next month, or thinking, oh, what am I going to do? So I've just made a note of that, Georgia, and I'll come back to that in a second. If you can't wait, then if you look up here, you can see my YouTube is Sarah Eris Therapy, so I'll upload this to there at some point over the weekend, so you can always, I will answer your question, but you can perhaps have a look on there if you can't wait. Hopefully you can wait. Evie, hello, Evie Powell. Hey, thank you for the support last time. I'm feeling much better and got the funeral on Sunday. Oh, bless you, Evie. I'm so glad that things are going all right, and that the support that we all gave you last time helped a little bit. So thank you so much for coming back and telling us. That's really lovely. really, I hope that the funeral goes as well as it can on Sunday. They're potentially difficult things, and they can just go as they go, but hopefully it'll be a celebration of life rather than well, it's all right to be tearful, isn't it? It's all right to feel sad when we lose someone that we love. That's the natural way of things. So so Maildis says, could I explain, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, could you explain generalised anxiety? Yes, I could. I've made a note of it, and I shall do that. I'm just waiting for people to join us. It's really, really lovely to have everyone here. Thank you ever so much. If you're new here, or even if you're old here, my name's Sarah. I'm Sarah Eris. I'm a Quest Cognitive Hypnotherapist, QCH for short, and I work mostly with people who have anxiety. And anxiety comes in all different shapes and sizes. It's different for every single person that experiences it. And I absolutely love working with people to help them come through that period of their life when perhaps anxiety is a little bit more intense than it needs to be. And every Friday at 12, I do these lives, just having a chat. And it's a really safe space. It's a friendly community that we've created over the last couple of years. And one of the main reasons that it's a friendly, safe community is because of my lovely team of moderators. So we've got the lovely Lynn 250 and also Vicky Hodgson and Julie Rees-Dever. I'm not sure whether Jasmine's here today. I've not seen her name pop up, but she may well pop in. So there's a really lovely team of 4 of us, 4 and me, and my moderators are not therapists, but they're really good, kind people, and they help by sort of answering some practical questions in the comments potentially. And if anyone comes on and is a bit silly or not very kind, then first of all the policy is that we mute, and then if they carry on, then we just block them. So that way, hopefully, if anyone is a bit, not as kind as they could be, if they're feeling a bit bored today and they decide to make silly comments, then they're not around for long, so you can feel safe here. So thank you so much to Lynn and Vicky and Julie and Jasmine for being here. And I'm going to answer some questions as best I can. If you're just popping in, if you're doing a sneaky work TikTok where you're just popping in and out and you think actually some of these things are quite interesting for you, then if you have a look up here on this purple thing, you can see that there's information about my website where there's loads of resources. Also in my profile, there's a link here on TikTok with lots and lots of free resources. Everything is free on here. I don't ask you to pay for anything. Please don't subscribe. Please don't feel the need to send me gifts or anything like that, because this is a free thing that we do. And also it's going to be on my YouTube. Oh, hang on, there's a what's this comment here? Okay, Rob. Oh, that's so lovely. So Rob, hey, I asked a question a year ago about dissociation. A year on, your advice has helped. Thanks. Oh, Rob, that's so cool. Thank you so much for remembering us and coming back on and letting us know that was helpful. Do you know what? I appreciate that more than you'll ever know. So thank you ever so much. And I hope that you're all right. Hope that you're doing okay. Brilliant. Isn't that a lovely team? I love it when people come back and say that, they've been helped. Oops. Let's see here. Okay, so there's quite a lot of comments coming through. Lots of comments do come through on these lives, and that's really brilliant. And I do try to answer as many as I can. I won't just be blathering on like I am at the moment. I will get on and start answering questions. If I don't see your comment, or if I don't answer your question, have a look on my grid, because there's lots and lots of videos about all sorts of different types of anxiety, different situations that can be helpful. And there are categories. When you look on your phone at the bottom of the screen, there's categories. So do go along and have a look. There's lots and lots of free resources there. So if I don't answer your question today, then hopefully you can find help elsewhere on my socials and on my page. Let's have a look. Okay. Yes, thank you, Lynn. Do check out my page because there's lots of stuff there. Okay. So, all right, let me get stuck in and answer George's question first. So first of all, George is going to uni. She obviously got her A-level results, which was successful, and starting uni next month. And that's an amazing thing, and probably the thing that you've been really crossing your fingers for and hoping for ages in your life. And now it turns up and you're thinking, oh, blimey, what am I going to do? So I think, first of all, it's completely normal to feel a bit anxious about going off to uni, because it may well be, I don't know if it is, but it may well be that it's the first time that you've lived away from home. And so it's all a whole unknown thing, and it's okay to feel a little bit anxious. Do your research, find out about, where you're going to be living. There may well be a Facebook group or a chat group to do with maybe your hall of residence, the place that you're going to. So it may well be that you know exactly who's going to be in the place that you're going to be staying at. And when you get there, everyone is in the same boat. So I sort of so get talking to people. If you can talk to the people who are going to be at the same uni as you, then that's great. And also talk to your friends and family around you, and let them know that you're feeling a bit anxious. Let them know whether you actually need advice, or whether you just need them to listen to you, whether you just need them to give you a big hug every now and again. It's fine. Whatever you need is absolutely fine. Try not to be too much in the future, imagining all the things that might go wrong, because the future doesn't exist yet, and actually it probably won't go wrong. It'll probably go really beautifully, and you'll make friends for life when you're at uni. One of the things, really practical things, and this seems like nothing, but and there is a health and safety aspect to this, but at uni, in the halls of residence, if you're in a hall of residence, tend to be quite heavy doors. They're like to your bedroom, and take a doorstop with you, so that if you are open for business, it sounds terrible, open for business, but if you're open for people to come and have a coffee with you, or we want to be friendly, you can just have your door open. Obviously, if it's a fire door, then you need to be careful with that. I'm not saying push open fire doors, but what I'm saying is let people know that you're open to have a coffee, have a chat, smile at people, just be you, because everyone's in the same boat. There are lots of techniques on my page that can be really helpful to help you feel a little bit calmer. Take stuff along with you that remind you of home. So have photographs of friends and family that you can have up, maybe little sayings that can help you, and understand that the first week, Freshers Week, that they're going to be throwing you into all sorts of things. So do join and join groups of people that you think, oh, this might be interesting. And that could be anything from a walking group to a pub crawl group to a judo group. It could be all sorts of stuff. So throw yourself into it as best you can, and understand that everyone else is going to be a bit nervous too, and talk to people about them. Where have they come from? What are they studying? What are they looking forward to? What are they frightened of? It will come naturally, more than you imagine, I think. So good luck, Georgia. I hope it goes really well. But the doorstop thing is a big tip, because otherwise that door is shut and you're sitting there in your room going, no one wants to talk to me. But actually, if it's open. And another thing, don't take white crockery because everyone has white crockery. Take stuff that you know is yours, because otherwise they'll just end up all lost in the kitchen and you're like, oh my God, I don't know if this is mine or not. Anyway, so let's have a look. Thank you so much to everyone joining me. There's loads and loads of, I can't see how many people are here today, but it seems to be quite a few today, which is great. If it's helpful for you, then if you just tap the screen, then that sends likes to the algorithm, and then that sends the live to more people. I suppose because it's a miserable day, and poor people are sitting there in their houses watching. But yeah, that's really helpful if you can do that. It doesn't cost you any money. Also, you can share the live, so you can just copy the link. You don't have to send it to anyone if you don't want to, but that also helps send the live to more people. So, oh gosh, there's so many questions coming through. My apologies if I don't answer everything, but lovely virtual assistant UK. Hello. I've had talking therapy that I struggled with as I'm mute in groups larger than about 4 people. Yeah, do you know what? Group therapy can be really tricky, can't it? I don't do group therapy. All of mine is one-to-one. So hang on. Lovely virtual assistant, just writing that down. So I feel for you that, and I think it's a thing that perhaps the NHS do. I'm sure it is helpful for some people, but the NHS, I think everything is so under the cosh. People are really struggling. There are long waiting lists everywhere, and I think one of the reasons that they do group stuff is that they're thinking, if we just get a load of people in a group, then at least they're getting some sort of help. But I know for me, and I've spoken to clients before who've come to work with me, the thought of, struggling anyway, feeling anxious, and then being in a group, oh God, how can you just let go and talk about what you want to talk about when there's lots of people? So I do understand that might be difficult. I would say that if you're offered group therapy, then give it a go. It's going to be free anyway if it's on the NHS. And so you might be surprised. Actually, it may well be that you may find it difficult to speak to begin with. But actually, perhaps as time goes on, it can become easier. And if your therapist in the group is worth their salt, then they'll do everything they can to make you feel as comfortable as possible. But I totally get what you're saying there. For me personally, what I prefer to do is to work one-to-one with people, whether that's face-to-face in real life or virtually online, because then you have that security, that confidentiality, the comfort of knowing it's just you and me talking. So I do understand that. Thank you ever so much for everyone joining us. It's really lovely to have you here. Last week I had the lovely Hazel here, and we were talking about Betwixt. So this is the app that she created. So I'd be really interested to know what you thought of it, good and bad. I'm not connected to Betwixt, so I found when she said that they were going to do more of a thing that you could shut your eyes and listen to it, I thought, I think I'd quite like that, because I find sometimes the having to read everything I found that not as easy. So let me know what you thought of the app next week, and if there's someone that you think I'd be interested in seeing them chat to me, then let me know, because I'd love to have other people on here. I'm doing the first Monday every month. I'm actually on Instagram doing some chats with some really interesting people. Had a chat last time, the first Monday of August, with Sharon Herbert, who's a brilliant therapist. She works a lot with PTSD, with people who've had traumatic times. And the first Monday of September, which I think is the 2nd of September, I'm going to be chatting to Kathy Powell, who's a friend of mine, and she specialises in working with people who maybe are on the spectrum, have autism, maybe ADHD, but looking at that whole side of therapy and working with people. You may well have ADHD yourself, or ADD, or you may be autistic, and that might be something that might interest you. So on Instagram, the link is via my profile, so you can have a little look at that. So hello, Angel Kate, nice to see you. Another week has passed. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Molly says, what can I do on top of my CBT to overcome anxiety? I feel like it's getting worse. Okay. So that's a really good question. Let me write that down as well. And then I'll go on top of CBT. Okay, so sometimes maybe Molly, some of the stuff I'll say here will be useful for you. So Male Days, and I don't know if I'm saying your name right, but you asked a question to explain generalized anxiety. So Molly, maybe this would be helpful for you. I don't know. So generalized anxiety, we love a label, don't we? In the sort of the medical community, health professional community, we love a label. And a lot of the time, labels can be very helpful because it helps me to know straight away. If someone says to me, oh, I've got health anxiety, then I know straight away, oh, that the anxiety you're experiencing is around health issues. If you have a label of being autistic, then maybe if you're at school, that will give you extra resources and that can be really helpful. So that's great, but actually sometimes labels can be a little bit putting you in a box and not taking you as an individual. For me as a QCH therapist, it's really important that everyone is seen as unique, that everyone who comes to me is absolutely unique. So your anxiety that you experience, Male Days, will be absolutely unique to you. And the thing about generalized anxiety, or if you're looking at GAD, you're looking at generalized anxiety disorder, all that really boils down to is that you are experiencing anxiety in lots of situations. And that's basically all it is. And the thing about anxiety is that anxiety is a protective behavior. If you think of us as we are just animals, we are nervous systems on legs, and the nervous system is part of our survival system. So we're going about our life, and our nervous system is constantly, from the moment we are in the womb even, it's scanning our environment, and that will be externally, the world around us, people around us. It'll also be internally, noticing our heart beating a bit more quickly, are feeling a bit sick maybe, that kind of stuff. And when our nervous system becomes aware that either there's really is a threat here, or maybe there's something in the future that we're thinking that might be a threat, that might be like, was it Georgia was waiting for your A-level results, that probably would have felt like a bit of a, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen. It will trigger us into fight or flight or freeze. It can also be that there's a situation here which actually isn't of threat to us, but we're making a match with past events in our lives, where stuff happened, we survived it, and our brain has put a red flag up and has gone, right, we need to look for anything similar to that thing that happened, because that was dangerous. And if that happens again, or anything like it, then we're going to trigger the fight or flight response so we can stay safe and we can survive. And that's what generalized anxiety is that you're getting lots of triggers, you're getting lots of red flags, and you become sensitized to it, because the more you trigger, the more potentially you will, because your brain is learning, it's getting evidence that, oh, this thing was a threat to me, so I triggered fight or flight and I survived it. And it's getting more and more information about the times when you're triggered into anxiety. And so because of that, because you're getting more and more evidence, your brain has got more and more red flags in it. And so perhaps you're getting triggered more often. Now, the thing to remember is that our nervous system, it doesn't care if we're happy, it doesn't care if we're sad, it doesn't care about anything other than the fact that it just wants us to survive. And so even if it's triggering us into fight or flight, and there's nothing wrong, we're just sitting in our bedroom or sitting on a bus somewhere, it doesn't care. It would rather make a mistake, it would rather trigger us into fight or flight and be wrong than not trigger us and have made a mistake and we get, run over by a car or something like that. So that is what generalized anxiety is. It's that sort of all-encompassing feeling quite anxious a lot of the time. So what can you do about that? Well, this is exactly what a lot of the resources on my page are about. And it's about explaining what it is. And it's about you beginning to be curious about what are your triggers, How do you know that you're anxious? And not necessarily focusing on the anxiety. When I work with people, we don't focus on the anxiety. We know that the anxiety is just a protective response. The anxiety is there to help us. And it doesn't feel very helpful, but actually it's our nervous system trying really hard to be helpful. So what we need to do is focus on the stuff that actually can help us feel much calmer. So we can begin to focus on the things that we love, the things that we enjoy, the things that give us the release of hormones that tell our nervous system, well, everything is okay. We are safe, actually, here and now. It helps us to be much more present in the moment. And so on my page, there's lots of techniques to be able to do that. I was thinking next week what I might do is do a practical session. So if you fancy coming along, and I'll teach you some techniques, and we'll do them all together, some practical techniques, some visualization techniques, and some breath techniques, then I don't know, what do you think? Would that be something that would be helpful? What do you reckon? I'm just having a look at the updated. Oh, Lynn's saying love a practical live. 11:38 saying good. Good morning. I'm from Louisiana, Tennessee. Welcome. Nice to see you. And lovely virtual assistant says sounds amazing. Okay. So cool. So I'll do that next week. I'll do a practical one. But so if you're thinking, oh well, that sounds like me. That sounds like I have got generalized anxiety. Then come along. Maybe have a little dip into some of my videos during the week. If you want to follow me, that's great, because I do videos quite regularly. Well, I used to do like 2 or 3 videos a day. I've calmed down a wee bit now, but I still do them probably daily, if not every other day. So there's loads and loads of stuff. So come along next week, because we can really make a difference to anxiety. There's lots and lots of stuff that we can do ourselves. It's completely free. We can look at our lifestyle, and then if you're thinking to yourself, well, actually I need to dig deeper with this, then if you again look at my profile, and there's a link, there's a therapist finder there to find more therapists like me, more QCH therapists. So that would be amazing if you had a look at that. But no pressure. You don't feel you have to at all. But we can make a difference. So please don't despair. I know that lots of people come on here, and I think a lot of the time you sort of get the impression that you're broken and you're mentally ill and there's something really wrong with you. And for many people, we've all been through so much. You can be diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, and blimey, actually you're really normal, because you're behaving normally in a situation where we've had a pandemic, none of us have got any money, none of us can pay the gas bill, and we've got politicians running the world that are just crazy, some of them. So anyway, so it's okay, and we can do stuff just by beginning to look at lifestyle, helping our nervous system know that we're safe. Okay, so I hope that helps a little bit. Lovely virtual assistant. So with the just the thing about group therapy, if it really doesn't work for you, and if you go along and you're thinking to yourself, actually no, I just can't speak here, then go back to your doctor and say, this is very difficult for me, I really want one-to-one therapy, because doctors have a duty of care to us, and you are allowed to have one-to-one therapy. And it also, it's well worth looking at private therapy, because there are ways of accessing it that don't bankrupt you. Go for someone who is someone that you click with, and think about the possibility of that, because it's not something that necessarily has to go on for years and years and years. You can see someone and have maybe 3 to 6 sessions make a real difference in your life and have a bit of a recipe for life moving forwards. Okay. Thank you so much for all of your comments, for your questions. My apologies if I'm not answering masses of stuff. I'm seeing loads of things coming through. And I'm really grateful that you're asking lots of questions. Molly, I'm hoping that some of the things I said there will help you on top of, so you asked the question, what can I do on top of the CBT I'm doing? So CBT is very much about catching thoughts. It's very working sort of top down. And with QCH, we tend to be a little bit more holistic. We do work in a way that is, we work within the body as well as within the mind. And so we have that combination, because I think we do need to work with the body. For us, the nervous system realizes that there's a threat and we get triggered, and we have the physical response because of the release of adrenaline and cortisol before we get the rational cognitive response of and we get those thoughts. So have a look at my page maybe, Molly, and see what you think. There's lots and lots of information and stuff on there. So, oh gosh, thank you for following me. I can see Kat War and Alice Good has followed. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. As I was saying earlier, if you don't mind like tapping on the screen just to send likes, then hopefully it will send the live to more people. And that it will be useful for people, because I think so many are struggling at the moment, and it is very hard to access help. I think no matter what country you're in, whether you're in the UK and our National Health Service, which is absolutely broken at the moment, or whether you're in America or Australia, wherever you are, I think things are difficult at the moment. So if we can do our little bit here, then that's great. If we can send the live to more people, then that's wonderful. And don't forget that it will be on Sarah Aris Therapy on YouTube as soon as I remember to upload it. And I'm not very good at that sometimes, but it's always before, it's usually over the weekend at some point. So let me have a look through some of these comments and welcome a few people. So Gabriella asked a really good question. How do I calm my friend if they're having an anxiety attack? So that's such a good question. Now, the thing about anxiety attacks, or some people call them panic attacks, they are, what's happening is your nervous system believes that you're in danger, and so it's sending you signals, maybe making your heart beat quickly, and usually that just is the thing that makes you feel anxious. But sometimes it can go, well, this person is trying to hide these signals, they're trying to ignore me, so I'm just going to ramp up the signals I'm sending. And then that is what an anxiety attack or a panic attack is. And it can feel absolutely horrible, and sometimes it can come from nowhere. Sometimes your nervous system suddenly, like for me, I've only ever had one panic attack in my life, and that was when there was a story behind this. So my nephew, who is now 28, he came to stay with me when he was little, he was a baby, and I was sitting on the floor in my house in London, and my husband suddenly said, Sarah, get up and take the baby upstairs. And I said, why? What? And he said, just go. And I was like, being me, I wanted to know the reason why. And he said, oh, thank you, Maldis, that's very kind of you. And he said, just go. And I said, why? Anyway, turns out a rat had just run across the carpet behind me. Oh my God. And so I took the baby upstairs, and before I knew it, my hands totally paralyzed like this, pins and needles all over I felt quite calm relatively. And I was like, oh my God, what's going on? I'm dying. And so we packed everything up and we went to the casualty accident and emergency department. I went in, I was like, oh my God, I can't feel my hands. They're completely frozen. And I was having a panic attack. So everything was fine, and I've never had one since. But that's an example of sometimes it can just come out of the blue. What do you do about it? Well, be calm, because actually that rat wasn't going to hurt me, and if you can, the reason that my hands went like that is because my breathing changed, because I had a sudden release of adrenaline and cortisol. My heart started to beat more quickly, and my breathing went from being slow and steady to being up here and like this. And when you hyperventilate, that's what happens. You can get the whole pins and needles and this. It doesn't happen very often, but if you do ever get that, please don't worry about it, because some of the breathing techniques can be really, really helpful. And just knowing that if you're with someone who's having a panic attack, sometimes you don't even need to say anything. It's just being with them. Maybe if they're okay with you holding their hand or just putting your hand on their shoulder and just reassuring them, saying, it's okay, I'm here. Let's just sit down. It's all going to be all right. I went on a course once, and one of the techniques that they did was quite good because it was very visual. And they said, so if you're with someone, and I've done this actually, someone in my clinic had a panic attack in the room. It was her first session, and we just did this. I said, okay, it's all right. Just breathe with me. Just be with me, and we're going to breathe. So we're going to breathe in and out. We're going to breathe in and out. So the person can see your hand going up and down. They can see that you're okay. And what's happening in that is that you're co-regulating. So your nervous systems are like this. So you're like this, you're all nice and calm. And maybe your friend is like, oh, like this. And they see you and they come to you. And by coming to you and joining, connecting with you, they can go, oh, okay, everything's calm, everything's all right, I'm safe, I'm well, to reassure them that they're going to be all right. You're with them, you're not going anywhere, all is well. So if you can regulate your breathing, slow and steady, don't worry about in breaths, just nice, slow out breath. Like that. And also, Lynn's absolutely right, Gabriella, that, sometimes just to chat, to go, oh, I know that you're worried, but, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. And we will look back on this and we'll both be able to laugh that you're sitting in the middle of Sainsbury's, but it's all right. Don't worry. Try not to talk too much, because their cognitive brain will be offline. And it's like, if like a conveyor belt's coming, words come and it's hard to really connect with the words. It's more of a physical thing, a physical reassurance. And also, if you know that you have a friend who has panic attacks, or if you're someone who has panic attacks, think about what would you need in that moment, and maybe let the people around you know, okay, this is what we're going to do. If I have a panic attack, or if you have a panic attack, this is the way we're going to work it. So that you have a plan, and then that can make you feel really reassured as well. So I hope that helps a little bit. Let's have a look. Oh, Mickey, thank you. I'm glad that you like my my voice. Let's see. So Emma Nicole says, I've started having panic attacks on the daily since my partner's gone on holiday. It's horrible. Gosh, yes, I can totally imagine that. And again, probably your partner is the person that you connect with, that you co-regulate with, and when your partner's there, all is well. And then all of a sudden you're by yourself and you get a little bit more hypervigilant. Your nervous system's going, oh, what's going on here? Am I safe? And so, it may well be that, maybe you could have a FaceTime. Maybe you could contact another friend that is quite calming for you and chat with them. And a lot of the techniques that I share. So this one, the pinned post. So there's 3 pinned posts. If you're looking at TikTok on your phone, if you look on my profile grid, there's 3 pinned posts. One is a 10 minute one, which is tapping, which is a really helpful technique, and it's a very vague 10 minutes of tapping, so it would probably work for anyone, no matter what was going on for you. I did it deliberately vaguely. There's also a breath technique. I think I do the triangle technique, and there's this one. This is really useful because this combines lots of techniques in one. So begin to do that. Begin to spend time just practicing being in the here and now. And if you do feel a bit panicky, just let yourself know that that thing hasn't happened yet. You are safe here and now, and it will pass. All will be well. So you could even save that TikTok that I've done, either the tapping or this one, and have me with you, just talking you through, just bringing you back down to a place that feels a little bit more comfortable for you. So I hope that that's helpful for you. Let's have a look. Ab says, I have very bad social anxiety, finding it difficult to meet people and develop connections at uni. I feel for you, Ab. It's hard, isn't it, when you're at uni? To be honest with you, I mean, I don't want to make it about me at all, but I was a bit like that at uni. I found it really quite difficult to make connections because I was quite shy, and the other people on my corridor when I went there, they were all medical students. And so they were all blinking working all the time. I was doing history of art and classics, so I had like one lecture a week. I spent a lot of time in my room eating. Eating and writing miserable poetry, which was, I look back on that and think, oh, blimey, maybe I should have had a therapist then. But, you know, the thing is that it's okay to be you, Ab. Do you know what? It's all right to be a bit shy, and it's all right that you haven't maybe got lots of connections. It's more about making the right connections, the right quality of connections. And so then it's about, well, how can you do that? Are there things that you're interested in? Are there people that you do like that you can connect with? And maybe one of the things that I do with my clients is talk about having joy bombs in our diaries so that we have a bit of structure in our life. And so you start to look at, okay, let's organise something. So I've got something to look forward to. So even if you're a bit alone on this day, you're thinking, well, I'm actually going to meet my friend, or I'm going to go to a bar, or I'm going to go for a walk with someone, you know, so that you've got stuff to look forward to. And so that you're not relying on spontaneous stuff, although spontaneous can be nice sometimes. I mean, another thing is, you know, letting people know that you are available to chat, and being interested in other people, because it's okay not to be, you know, I was never the life and soul of the party. I was always very quiet, but I think I was quite smiley, and I was interested in other people, and that can be helpful. So I hope that is helpful. And also I can see Shama 19 saying that your son's the same. It's tricky, you know, it's really tricky. Social stuff can be really hard if you're a bit shy, if you're a bit of an introvert, but it doesn't mean that it's going to go on forever. It's about building a quality of friendship just over time, and putting yourself in that position. If you make the mistake that I did, being stuck in my room by myself all the time, well, I was never going to meet anyone. So it's really about learning how to put yourself into situations where you can feel as comfortable as possible. You might not feel completely comfortable, but you're putting yourself in a position to meet other people. So and you're going to be doing that at lectures, you're going to be doing that at tutorials, and in those moments to chat to people, to ask people if they want a coffee. If people ask you if you want to go for a coffee or something, say yes. Start saying yes to things. It might be rubbish, but it might be the beginning of a beautiful friendship. So that's hopefully that's advice that will be helpful for you. Thank you so much to everyone who's here. Thank you if you're liking the live, if you're sharing it, if you're following me. That's so lovely of you, and I really appreciate it, because it does send it to more people. And I would really like to think that this live is a helpful thing, that we've created a community over the last couple of years that is helpful for people, and the more people can see it, the better, really. Let's have a look here. So Ali, let's see. Ali, I read my paper for hospital. Is major depressive disorder just a fancy name for depression? Ali, I would only be guessing. I think it probably is. I think that people like to put people in boxes, and that is someone saying that you are really depressed at the moment. I could be wrong. It could be something else. I'm not sure. But people do this, don't they? And how miserable is that to be told that? Because just those words themselves, major depressive disorder, is difficult to hear. I imagine it would be. One of the things that my friend Sharon was saying when I spoke to her on the Insta Live, she was saying that she was diagnosed with PTSD, which again is another disorder, and post-traumatic stress disorder. And she said when things really began to change for her was when she decided to call it post-traumatic stress injury instead, because all of a sudden it helped her reframe what was going on for her in her life. And she realized, I can heal from an injury. I've been injured because of what I've experienced in my life, and I can heal from an injury. If someone says you have a disorder, as they'd said to Sharon, you have a disorder, it was like she felt she was stuck with that forever. Does that make sense? And so maybe if you were able to go, I've had a really hard time growing up and in my life, and I'm injured by that. I'm injured, and my nervous system, my brain is doing its best to protect me from further injury. And so that's why I feel the way I feel. I wonder if that would be helpful. It's worth thinking about, isn't it? We don't have to. I think when people, when medical professionals give us a label, we might find that really helpful, and we might find it really unhelpful. And so it's okay to accept the diagnosis, but we don't necessarily have to accept the prognosis. We are all individuals. And even if you have a 1% chance of, so if you're diagnosed with something and they go, oh, you've got a 1% chance of this getting better. Well, there's still 1%, isn't it? There are people who manage their lives with having had all sorts of stuff go on. So I think hope, being able to see, and the word injury gives you, they might see it as a disorder, but you can say, no, actually, for me, it's an injury because I have been injured. Anyway, I hope that helps a little bit. I hope so. Okay, so Shama19 says, my son's anxiety is so bad, he only has me and his dad and refuses to mix and hide from everyone. Oh, that must be hard for you as a mum. Really hard. I mean, obviously really hard for him, but really hard for you as a mum and dad to see that. I know one of the reasons I went into this, being a therapist, was my son, who's now 23, but when he was 11 or 12, he had really, really hard time with anxiety. And it was really difficult to get help, really, really hard. And it was just awful. And so, that's why I do what I do, to a big extent. Maybe show him my page. I don't know. You could show him this, let him have a look at some of my videos, because then he can do that in his own time. And if he wants to ask me any questions, he can. There's all sorts of resources on there. And social anxiety is something that we all at times can suffer from, because it really matters that we fit in with people. Well, there's a really interesting thing, isn't there? It's like the pain of fitting in and the joy of belonging. And they're very different things, because when we're trying to fit in with people, we're trying to be maybe someone we're not. And actually, when we can be with people that we feel that we belong with, when we find our tribe, that's a really, really different feeling. So yeah, I would accept him for who he is at the moment. Maybe share this page, encourage him to do the things that he loves, and let him know that this is a temporary thing. He doesn't have to feel like this forever. And then he just starts to take tiny, tiny steps out of his green zone, which is very, very small at the moment, outside into the amber zone. And the more he does that, comes back to safety, the more evidence his brain has that actually it is possible to step into the amber, and eventually the amber becomes the green. So the green just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's about being aware of our window of tolerance, of where our edges are, and being able to just expand that gradually over time. So I hope that helps a little bit. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, Ali, I'm just seeing your reply there. Thanks, Sarah. They also say DID and CPTSD too. That really helps. Good. I'm glad it helps. I'm glad. Okay. Oh, so many interesting questions. My God. I would say to all of you, if I'm not answering your question, please go and look at my page, because I've done so many videos and there's categories, and it may well be that you've got something that is mentioned on my page already. And if you leave a comment on one of my posts, I look at all of the comments. I try and answer as many as I possibly can. If you leave a comment and ask me a question, then if you want me to do a video about something particular, I will do a video for you. So please just, feel free to comment on my posts, and I will see and I will try and do a video for you. Okay. So Nat says, how do I get a diagnosis in the UK? Well, the diagnosis for anything, you need to start by going to your GP, so your doctor. And no matter what is going on for you, whether you have physical stuff that's going on for you or emotional, mental stuff that's going on for you, always start by going to see your doctor, because they can give you advice about maybe finding someone who's more specialist. I work with people who haven't necessarily had a formal diagnosis of anxiety, but they know that they're anxious, they know that they can't go out, or they know that this particular thing is really, really difficult and stressful for them. So I don't think you necessarily need a diagnosis of anxiety, but I think it's always a good place to start is going to your doctor. So that's the answer to that, Nat. I would not, if someone came to me and I worked with them, I'm not about giving diagnoses. I work with the person, I work with the symptoms that they bring, and we work through that. So I would never say to someone, oh yes, you've got blah blah blah. That's not what my training is. But what I am good at doing is working with people and helping them with what their life is feeling like at the moment. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's such a lovely one there. So Graz Quasington, we are all amazing, powerful and stronger than we believe. Love and positivity to all. That's such a lovely comment. Thank you for that. I think that's brilliant. I agree with you completely. And Tooth Fairy, hello Tooth Fairy, not seen you for a while, haven't popped up. Do you think constant anxiety can affect the immune system? So that's a really, really good question. I think that there is research to say that it affects or can affect your immune system. It certainly can affect you physically, because over time, if you imagine just purely, if over time you're filled with adrenaline and cortisol and you're really tense and your breathing is really affected by the tension within your body and the sense of being in fight or flight, well, you're going to end up with aches and pains. People who have IBS, that is down to can be down to anxiety, trauma. So I would say that I would say that it would. I haven't got like a piece of paper here with the reason I'm hesitating is I've not got a piece of paper here saying yes, this research study says this, but I would say that yes, it does. Let's see. Let me just put my glasses on. Milika, last year I was in this live with the same struggles, and so Milika's talking to Ab. And things completely changed. It'll be okay. Oh, that is just so amazing. So good. So Ab, keep strong. You will be amazed how different things will start to feel. And Milikas, thank you so much for giving that hope to Ab and for coming back and for letting us know that we made a difference to you. So that's lovely. Oh, Brian, gosh, that's great. So Joji, what to do when I'm at work and my boss gives me an important task and I just can't work due to anxiety? Okay. So first of all, I would be curious about that. Is it everything that your boss asks you to do? What is it about work? What are the things that you're good at work? And be curious about that. If you can, have a word with your boss. Maybe have a word with a colleague that you feel that you can trust, because they do have a duty of care to you, and it may well be that they can help you. Maybe I always find with things that actually breaking stuff down can be really, really helpful. So that if someone gives you a task, what happens is if you're given a task and your nervous system goes, oh my God, this is just too much for me, I don't know how to do this, then you're going to overwhelm. You're in fight or flight or freeze, probably in freeze, and your cognitive function of your brain will just shut down. So what happens is the blood that would normally flow to your speech and language and working memory centres actually is going to your big muscles so that you can run away or fight. And well, that's no good, is it? If you're trying to do something for your boss because you're not thinking straight. So give yourself a moment. Understand that, I've gone into fight, flight or freeze. I'm going to do one of the techniques. Have a look at the pin post that I've got on my page. This one can be really helpful. As I say, maybe talk to your boss and say, listen, I'm struggling sometimes. Some of the things that you give me, I kind of freeze a bit. Obviously it might not be that you're comfortable doing that, but ask for help. You're not alone. They have a duty of care. They have a duty of care for you, and it's all right to ask for help. Talk about it with friends and family. And as I say, be curious about what's going on, because there will be things that you're really good at work, things that you do that you're great at. What is it about the things that you struggle with? And maybe you can ask for extra help with that. That can be helpful. So if you do some of the techniques that I talk about, like this one particularly, then what can happen is that brings everything to a state of calm. Your brain comes back online and you'll look at it and go, oh, I can do this actually. I always found that, when you do an exam and you turn the sheet over and you look at the questions and you go, oh my God, I don't know anything about this. I can't remember studying this at all. And then if you just read through, take some time, you look again and you go, oh, actually I could do that one. It's a bit like that. So I hope that helps a wee bit. So let's have a look. We are coming to the end of this live. We've been here for an hour and I'm so grateful for all of you being here. All of your comments, all of your questions, all of your likes and shares and follows. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you ever so much. Let me just have a little scroll through and see. So Bonnie, that's a good question. What do you think about the word trauma? I feel like it could be interchangeable with injury. I agree with you. Yeah, I think that's a really good point. For me as a QCH therapist, and I can see your, Amber, I can see your question, what is a QCH therapist? Language is really important to us. You know, if I just give you a simple example, if I say to someone, okay, how are you feeling? How are you today? And they go, oh, I just feel awful. I feel really anxious. Or even if they just go, oh, not too bad, then that gives me a very different feeling, and probably gives them a very different feeling to if I say to them, how are you today? And they go, yeah, I'm pretty good. Because what happens is your brain in that instant connects with the language, and it gives you a connection with every experience you've ever had of that word or that thing. So if you are using the word good or happy or relaxed or great, you're going, ooh, all those things, all those other times when I felt good and happy and great. Whereas if you say not so bad, our brain only picks up on bad, and it goes to all of the other times where you felt bad. So equally, you know, if you're using the word injury, that can mean, oh, well, this thing is a temporary thing that I've suffered and I am going to heal from, rather than a disorder, a trauma, something that is a real solid, concrete thing. So each to their own, but it's very interesting to look at how we use language. As a QCH therapist, I use language. Language is such a really important, powerful thing. QCH therapy is, Amber, it's quite cognitive hypnotherapy, and QCH is a framework. It's a talking therapy that is very client focused. We treat every client as an individual. So I'm going to sneeze. And we use various tools. So we use aspects of positive psychology, neurolinguistic programming. We use very conversational hypnotherapy, so hypnotic suggestion. We use the idea of trance states, so that we are all in trance all day, every day, going in and out of different trances. Like if you're reading a book and you don't hear someone asking if you want a cup of tea, that's because you're in your book reading trance. And if you're in your anxiety trance, that's the time where, well, you're not quite behaving as you would normally behave. So, and it's about dehypnotizing people and giving them the tools and the skills to be able to live their life. So it's quite a practical therapy. So let's have a look. Jane says, I have CPTSD, going to be doing EMDR. Brilliant. That's a great therapy. Already had 2 rounds of CBT. What should I expect? Well, I mean, it depends on the therapist, really. I would expect that it's going to be pretty amazing, because EMDR is a very powerful therapy. It's all about resourcing. What your therapist should be doing initially is resourcing you, making sure that you understand what's going on for you, that you have a sort of rational cognitive understanding of what's happened to you, what's going on for you, giving you resources that you can, physical visualization resources, breath resources, all of that kind of stuff. And so that when you perhaps look at what's happened with the EMDR, you are in control, and you can manage it really well. So yes, I'd be excited probably to do that. So I hope it goes really well for you. Amber, I'm a psychologist, but I've never heard of that. Interesting. So yeah, it is. We are small but beautifully formed. I'm actually the training manager at the Quest Institute. The Quest Institute was founded by Trevor Sylvester and his wife Bex. They've been running for 23 years, and we train therapists to be QCH therapists. So we have a research study that underpins the work that we do. So it is evidence-based, and we're trying to let more people know about what we do. Obviously we have our limits. I'm not as highly trained as a psychologist is. There are people that we wouldn't be working with. For example, I wouldn't work with someone who had who had bipolar disorder, had a diagnosis of any form of psychosis at all. I have, there's a limit to my training, and if someone came to me with those things, then I would refer them on to a psychologist, going back to their doctor, maybe to a psychotherapist, someone like that. So yeah, but it's a really helpful therapy. It helps with lots of people. So I'm glad you're here. Welcome, Amber. Let's have a look. Oh gosh, I've missed your name. Look, it flew by. Let me see if I can find you again. Was it I can't see. I think it was Gary. It was someone. Oh, it's so annoying when these there's so many comments, and when they all fly by and I miss them, that's so annoying. But anyway, the person had made a comment saying that you work in the US and you do a similar thing to me, and that you like these lives. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Right, I think I'm going to have to bring this to an end, because I've actually got to go and do some work. I've got to download a Wordweave for my client, and I've got to do some more admin, because Friday's my admin day. But it's been so lovely having you here. Thank you ever so much. Thank you for your comments, for your follows, for your likes, for sharing, and for your questions, and for the support. And for those of you who've come back and said, oh yes, this helped me, I was here last year, then that's so amazing. Thank you so much for that. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much to my moderators, to Lynn250, to Vicky Hodson, to Julie Rees-Deaver, to Jasmine. I've not seen you, Jasmine. I think Jasmine's probably working, but I appreciate so much what they do. They give up an hour of their time and more every Friday lunchtime to come and be here and help and answer questions and keep this a safe space. So I couldn't do it without you. You are absolutely brilliant. And I really appreciate your presence in my life. So thank you. The next one is going to be next Friday. So next Friday again, 12 noon UK time. We're going to do a practical one. I'm going to write that down so I don't forget. We're going to do a practical live, practicing visualization techniques, physical techniques, breath techniques. So if you fancy coming along and learning some ways just to help yourself feel a little bit calmer in the moment, then come along next Friday. I'll post the link now. I'll set it up now after I've finished here. And I will be uploading this to the YouTube channel, so Sarah Ayres Therapy, which you can see up here, so that you can watch it if you've just dipped in and out. And also put a note in your diary. I have to whisper this because I don't want TikTok to know, because it's going to be it's going to be on Instagram. So make a note of this. So Monday the 2nd of September, which is the first Monday of the month, I'm going to be doing an Instagram live at 6:30 p.m. That's UK time. And I'm going to be talking with my friend Kathy Powell. Now, Kathy is absolutely brilliant. She is an expert on neurodiversity. Her son, who is 30, when he was born, he eventually got a diagnosis of autism, but she has worked so hard to help him and to help other people. And so I just thought it would be really interesting to chat with her. She's a therapist, she's a QCH therapist like me, but she has so much knowledge around autism, about ADHD, ADD, all sorts of things, and she's just a lovely normal person. So if you fancy coming along, my username on Instagram is Sarah A and then _CogHip. Sarah A, so SARAHA, and then _CogHip, COGHYP. It's probably easier if you just go to my profile and have a look at the link there. There's a link in my bio and it will take you through to all the free resources, including the link to my Instagram. So, oh, thank you. Monday the 4th. Oh, Eleanor, thank you ever so much. Just shows you, doesn't it? I'm losing my mind. Okay, so scratch all of that. It's not Monday. Monday the 2nd. It's Monday the 4th of September. Oh, and Lynn, it's your wedding anniversary. So, but honestly, don't worry, because it will be recorded. So I will share it. If you can't make it at 6:30 in the evening, that's all right. Please do not, Lynn, give up your wedding anniversary to come to the live. You can watch it. You can watch it when it's recorded. But yeah, 4th of September, a Monday night at 6:30. Okay. All right, everyone. Well, I hope you have a lovely weekend. Thank you for being here. And I hope that you are all right. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here. If you followed me, if you liked this, if you've commented, if you've asked questions, then brilliant. And Lynn, I hope you have a really happy anniversary. But I'll see you hopefully next Friday, because we're going to be doing this 12 o'clock next Friday. But take care. Cheerio, everyone. Oh, I'm going to just get rid of this large text. Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Vicky. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Jasmine, if you see this. And lots of love to everyone. It's just been a really nice live, and I've really enjoyed having you here. So I'm going to stop waffling on, and I'm going to say goodbye. Have a great weekend, and be kind to yourselves.